13 shots, 13 misses. The general laughs. Any sharpshooters here? A quiet woman steps forward, a broken watch on her wrist, an empty wallet in her pocket, a 4,000-meter target blinking in the heat. Meet Natasha Watson, silence against the desert wind. When she squeezes the trigger, everything changes. The desert shook like a held breath. Heat stacked in bright panes, mirage on mirage. Natasha Watson drank warm water that tasted like metal. Her watch was broken. The second hand had snapped years ago and stuck at 9:17. She wore it anyway. Some things should not be fixed. Dust lay on the road like flour. Trucks lined the berm. A steel plate winked on the horizon. 4,000 meters. No shade between here and there. They had missed 13 times. Good shooters. Names stitched above their hearts. All of them steady. All of them human. The general stood with the sun across his shoulders, cap low, shadow sharp. He lowered the binoculars and smiled the way a man smiles at a dare. "Any sharpshooters here?" he called, voice light, like this was a joke the desert could share. English, auto-generated. "Any?" Laughter. It scraped the air and fell flat. Hands on hips, shrugs. Someone said to try a drone. Someone else said try tomorrow. Natasha felt the wind on her lips first. It tasted chalky. Left to right at the start. Dead air in the middle. A small right-hand push past the shimmer. She mapped it without words. She was not on anyone's list. Logistics patch. Grease under one nail from a generator she had coaxed into life before dawn. Empty wallet in her cargo pocket. Payday was 2 days away and the vending machine did not issue credit. She wanted to stay unseen. Quiet was her uniform, but the general's eyes slid over the crowd and landed on her like a weight. "You there?" he said. She nodded and stepped out because sometimes your feet decide before your head. The road to the line was dusty and soft. Every step wrote a new line in the sand. A corporal handed her the rifle. It was heavier than it looked. It always is. She settled behind it, bipod biting down. The ground warmed through her sleeves. Through the scope, the world went narrow. Heat bars. A coin of steel at the world's edge. She blinked slow. Breath sifted. The broken watch dug at her wrist. She did not look at it. Numbers arranged themselves in the quiet. Spindrift. Humidity. Drop. The wind ran a small loop beyond the second kilometer. 7 seconds long if you counted the flags, like a metronome made of cloth. Her father had taught her to listen to fences. Wire sings when wind speaks truth, he used to say. He had not taught her to be brave. Only calm. "Whenever you're ready," the general said. Natasha watched the middle flag lean right, then soften, then left. She counted. 1, 2, 3. On 4, she let the world shrink to a pin. Her finger found pressure. The trigger began to move. The entire line leaned in without meaning to, and then the wind flipped. She paused on a hair. The desert waited with her. She either trusted the cycle, or she missed like the rest. She took the shot. The recoil came like a fast door slamming in a quiet house, and someone yelled, "Hold!" "Don't call it." Silence ran for 4 seconds, 5, 6. Then a sound like a spoon striking a church bell. Thin, undeniable. Steel. The spotter's voice cracked. "Hit!" Another voice said center. And then everything got loud. Natasha stayed behind the glass, watching the plate tremble, small as a thumbnail. She did not smile. She felt the bruise waking in her shoulder. She felt the broken watch press and cool. The general lowered his binoculars like a man pulling down old curtains. He looked at her the way storms look at trees that didn't break. "You just wrote a new rule," he said. People came. Pats on the back. "Ma'am, Sergeant, where'd you learn that?" She said. The wind was looping. They nodded like they understood, then asked her what scope she used. In the canteen, coins rattled in a machine that hated everyone equally. Natasha counted what she had and came up $1 short. Empty wallet again. She put the bag of chips back and took a paper cup of water. A lieutenant with sunburn sat across from her. He looked like he hadn't slept in a week, and maybe he hadn't. "I've been at this 10 years, he said. "I've never seen that." "Not at 4, she shrugged. It was there. He tried small talk that kept turning into questions. "How did you hold? Where did you set your dope? Did you read spin?" She answered the way she shot. Short, true. News ran ahead of them. By dusk, a phone screen showed a slow-motion clip from a drone. Her on the ground, the plate flirting into vibration. The caption called her a ghost. She turned the screen face down. The general found her on the dusty road behind the motor pool. He walked like a man leaving a long meeting. "I need a favor," he said. "Teach what you saw." "I'm logistics," she said. "Logistics sees everything," he said. "Teach it." The broken watch caught the last light. She remembered the pawn shop 3 towns over. She had offered it once for cash and walked out with it still in her hand. The man behind the glass had said, "Keep it. It knows you tomorrow," she said. He nodded. "Good, and one more thing." He lowered his voice. "People won't like that you hit what they missed." "I didn't take anything from them," she said. "You took away their excuses." Boots scuffed up behind them. A man with a jaw like a square cut of metal stopped 10 feet out. Sniper school patch. Arms crossed. "Try it again," he said. "Right now." "Wind's different," the general sighed. Natasha set the paper cup on a fender and watched the flag at the edge of the lot take a breath. "Try it again," the man said, louder. She lifted the rifle case. Her palms were still clean. Then the air changed. A dust devil spooled out of nowhere, a thin column, fast and mean, racing straight toward the berm and the standing crowd. Someone shouted, "Heads!" and the devil unzipped the line like a knife through thread. Grit in the teeth. Hands over eyes. Hat's gone. It lasted 10 seconds. Then the dust devil died like a bad idea. Natasha set the case down. She watched the flags recover. Cloth remembering it was cloth. The man with the square jaw spat grit. He looked more human with dust on him. "Still want to try me?" she asked. He gave a tight nod. He had a name. Cole. It fit. They laid out at 2,000 to begin. Half distance. But the air was worse here. Eddies. Backwash from the training ridge. Hot pockets that made the sight dance. Cole missed. Missed again. The spotter called corrections that slid past. Natasha did not touch the rifle. She touched the wind with her eyes. "Count it," she said. Cole didn't answer. "The middle flag," she said. "Right, relax, left 7 seconds. Fire on 4, not 5. Not 3, 4. He grunted like numbers offended him. He counted anyway. On 4 he pressed. The steel rang and surprised him enough to laugh. "Again," she said. He did it again. When he looked back, something had come off his face. Not pride. Pride can stay. It was the other thing. The one that hates learning. By noon, the range was a classroom drawn in dry lines and wind. She made them time their breathing to the flag swing. She made them write down misses and what the air had said just before. People prefer the story of a miracle. She gave them the work of a rhythm. The general kept his distance. He knew when not to stand in the doorway of a new room. At 3, the sky bruised in the west. Not rain. Heat collapsing on itself. Pressure for the sake of pressure. They moved back to 4,000. Nobody shot. The lesson at that range is patience. Cole lay behind glass, cheek on stock, learning to wait. He would have to leave for a deployment soon. You could see the orders in the way he checked his watch and then remembered he didn't want to. Natasha sat on a crate and fixed a frayed sling with black tape. Her broken watch had a tiny crack she hadn't noticed. A thin crescent. "Moon trapped at 9:17, why keep it?" Cole asked. "It stayed when other things didn't," she said. He let that sit. At 4, a radio coughed. A live fire convoy drill 2 miles east. Nothing to do with them. Except the wind, a plume rose, black, wrong. Then the alarm. Sirens from the base. The general's voice on a channel none of them used. "All units hold position." Cole looked at Natasha. She was already standing. The smoke leaned toward the range. Fire made its own weather. Wind that argued with maps. In the ops tent they had a small drone. A surveillance bird with an angry fan and a camera the size of a coin. "No payload, no plan. Just a screen and coordinates. Give me the manual," Natasha said. Someone laughed. She took the controller. Numbers slid into place. Same language. New alphabet. The fire chewed toward a truck they all knew should never be on fire. Ammunition, no one could get close. The road was a ribbon of heat. A tech pointed at the suppressants stacked in hard cases. They were designed for low passes from a chopper. They did not have a chopper. "We drop from the drone," she said. "The bird can't lift," the tech said. "Then we strip it." They pulled the casing. Shaved ounces. Rerouted a line with tape. "Empty wallet ideas, make do." "Make it matter." She eyed the flags by the tent door. They had stopped speaking in rhythm. Now they pulsed like a tired heart trying to break into a sprint. 3 beats, she said. "Drop on the 3rd. Window? The general asked. 2 seconds, she said. Not enough. It's enough. She watched the smoke, listened to the flapping cloth, counted the wind she could not see. 1, she whispered. 2, 3. She hit the switch, and the screen went black. The tech swore. The power flickered. The generator coughed like a man waking wrong. Natasha did not swear. She tracked the beat without the picture. The drone had momentum. Gravity had always honored its promises. Battery back, the tech shouted. The screen blinked once, twice, returned. The drone hung over heat like a wrong star. The suppressant capsules fell as if bored. Then the pulse punched. An invisible hand pressed them down. They hit the center of the flame and burst into white. Steam climbed. The fire hissed the way snakes do when they remember they can leave. Silence after noise. They all felt tall. The general exhaled like he had been holding his breath for a year. He turned to Natasha and smiled without teeth. You keep counting, he said. She nodded. The broken watch did not. They packed the cases. Night found the range early. Floodlights drew insects and made the flags look like bad ghosts. Cole found her at the fence line. He handed her a small envelope. An apology. Not on paper. Folded cash. Your team passed the hat, he said. You shouldn't have to put chips back. She looked at him and then at the envelope. Empty wallet, full now, but not from a bank. From a circle. I'll pay the favor forward, she said. He laughed. You already do. At dawn, the general brought orders. Command wants your method documented, he said. Charts, words, things people can argue with in conference rooms. She shut her eyes for a breath. Make it about the practice, she said. Not about my name. You'll get both, he said. Class shifted from field to tent. Whiteboard. Markers that smelled like false fruit. She drew loops and arrows in small boxes where calm fits. She wrote, Don't chase wind. Count it. Below that she wrote, Time your breath to cloth. Men and women watched her hand move. She watched their shoulders drop. Learning changes posture. By noon, the cameras showed up. Not just base cameras. People with badges and questions that preferred answers in story form. She gave them truth instead. They found it heavy. In the afternoon, a storm made of air, not water, slid down the valley. Not lightning. Just pressure and grit. Heavier than yesterday. The kind that turns breath into work. Someone suggested canceling the live demonstration scheduled for commanders at 3. The general looked at Natasha. She looked at the flags. They didn't dance anymore. They argued. We do it, she said. They lined the berm. Officers with polished boots. A field of crossed arms, colon glass. Natasha on the spotter scope. She spoke in short notes, not sermons. Hold, don't chase. Count 2. Wait on 4. He trusted the words against his cheek. Clang, clang, clang. A murmur moved the line. Then a radio crackled. The convoy range was clear, but a rumor wasn't. Someone important wanted the method turned into software with a corporate logo. A tidy box. A subscription. The word ownership floated like trash in a clean river. Natasha rubbed her wrist. The broken watch stayed broken. Good. After the demo, the general waved her into a small room that smelled like paper and headache. 3 strangers with clean shoes and thin smiles were already sitting. Ms. Watson, one said, using the kind of voice people save for elevators and bad news. What you did is promising. We'd like to explore partnerships. Classified training shouldn't come with a coupon code, she said. They smiled harder. The general watched her and didn't move. He looked like a man who knows which way the wind is going but doesn't like it. Not interested, she said. Not optional, one of them replied very softly. Natasha's mouth went dry. She thought about her empty wallet. She thought about the envelope of cash. She thought about the dusty road that always needed walking. She stood to leave, and the man at the end of the table slid a folder across to her. Inside, a photograph of her father, younger, squinting at a fence in hard sun. Shame to waste his legacy, the man said. Her hand went cold. She closed the folder. Who gave you that? She asked. Someone who wants to be helpful, he said. Name, she said. He smiled. Major General. The door opened. The general stepped back into the light. The general's eyes landed on the folder. He knew it instantly. You can tell by the way a face forgets how to hold itself for 1 second. Give us the room, he said. The men with clean shoes left with the smell of their cologne. He sat across from her. He looked older suddenly. He looked like a man who could do 2 wrong things to try for 1 right result. They're going to turn this into a product, he said. They already wrote the press release. You let them, she said. I slowed them, he said. She thought of the broken watch. Stop time still tells the truth twice a day. She did not want a truth that only fits sometimes. Why? She asked. He didn't answer. The silence lengthened until it felt like a wall. Because money moves faster than honor, he finally said, the words landing heavy and true. Because they said if we didn't license it, they'd build a worse version with louder marketing. Because I forgot how to say no. She stared at the table. The cheap wood veneer had a pattern that lied about the grain. She traced it and it didn't hold. He put his hat down between them. The field is yours, he said. But the rooms where they name things? Those rooms are theirs. Not if we speak louder than them, she said. Louder isn't your way, he said, and it's not mine. Then we'll be steady, she said. Steady lasts longer. He let out a breath that sounded like surrender and respect at the same time. Do you know what happens when you stand in front of a machine? He asked. You get measured, she said. Then you decide how much you weigh. That night she walked the dusty road until the berm fell away and the stars came out like broken glass carefully arranged. Wind moved across the scrub with a sound like soft radio static. She thought of her father tightening grape wire on a cheap post. He had taught her that a line that looks straight can still sing. She wrote a note on a palm card with a stub of pencil. Precision isn't a product. She taped it to the whiteboard where the cameras would see it. Morning belonged to the range. The flags were kinder. A 7-second loop had returned like a friend who forgives too easily. They ran the class. Cole watched the newest group find steel for the first time. Every hit sounded like a door unlocking in a hallway no one had walked before. At lunch, a convoy rolled out. Cole's team climbed aboard. He looked back at her and raised 2 fingers. 4 count. They had a language now. Afternoon. The men with clean shoes did not return. The general did. He said the word hearing. He said the word briefing. He said, I need you there. She said, I will speak. I won't sell. In the hearing room, the air was stale and chandeliered. Her boots sounded wrong on the floor. She told the story in clean lines. Wind, cloth, breath. She told them about misses that teach and hits that whisper. A woman on the panel asked about cost. Natasha said patience is cheap. Arrogance is expensive. Someone in the back coughed and tried not to smile. When it was over, the hall filled with small conversations that pretended to be big. In the corner, the man with the folder watched her go and did not stop her. He would try again. Machines always do. She stepped outside into the bruised light of late day. Wind at her cheek. A truck pulled up fast. Not base transport. Too clean. 2 figures inside. Faces hard with practice, the door opened. Ms. Watson, we're here to... She turned toward the shout. Cole's vehicle, returning ahead of schedule, fishtailed into the lot. He jumped out with eyes wide. Contact East Ridge, he said. Training exercise went sideways. We've got 2 pinned. We're blind in the middle. Natasha looked at the flags. They leaned left, then stilled, then left again. The pattern was there. It always is if you're willing to be quiet for it. She grabbed the board marker from her pocket. She wrote 3 numbers on the hood of a truck. She circled the last one. Can you make that shot from the west rise? She asked Cole. At 4? He said, in this air? In this air, she said. He looked at the ridge. He looked at her. I can try, he said. Natasha picked up the rifle case. The broken watch caught and glinted. The empty wallet pressed against her leg. They ran. Halfway up the slope, the wind died, and the first crack of incoming tore dirt 2 feet from her boots. They hit the ground. Dirt in the nose. Dust between teeth and vow. Cole slid to a stop behind a rock that looked like a knuckle. Natasha lay beside him and opened the case like a prayer box. Metal, glass, old promises. Which plate? He asked. No plate, she said. Marker pole right of the pinned team. 2 inches below the crossbar. That gust travels low. Wind's wrong, he said. It's not wrong, she said. It's tired. The radio rattled with voices that only wanted yes. She turned the volume down until the words lost their edges. Flags below leaned and leaned back. 7 seconds. The loop had returned, smaller, shy. "Count with me," she said. They did, breaths turning into arithmetic. On 4, Cole sent the first shot. It went long. "Too proud. Lower," she said. "Trust the tired air." He trusted. The second shot walked the wind like a tightrope and kissed the pole. A new gust answered. The pinned team moved. A man's hand rose and fell like a flag when you're close enough to see the fabric. "Again," she said. He did not nod. He didn't need to. He had her voice beside him and the valley in his ear. The third shot snapped the crossbar. The team slid free of the bad spot and ran for the blind hollow she had marked in grease on the truck hood. Someone on the radio said, "We're moving." No sound in the word but the sound of going. Natasha watched the flags unlearn their panic. Wind slowed. The day decided on evening. She lay back on the rock and stared at the clean slice of sky. Her broken watch pressed a half moon into her wrist. She was suddenly glad it did. Cole rolled to sit and laughed once, short and unbelieving.